Weiss here. We're here live at RetailX. I'm here with Tivan, SaveMySales.
That's right.
All right, what do you guys do?
So we are SMS marketing with a personal touch. And
How did you get how does no one have SaveMySales for SMS?
It's a funny story. So we were running a bicycle company and we realized that our best converting channel was when we texted customers. And we told this to a couple of our friends who also ran high volume e-commerce stores. And they said, hey, we kind of want you to help us do text message. So our first contract was actually us texting customers on behalf of that brand. And we said, what do we call this? Well, it's got to be some acronym with SMS, Save My Sales. So it happened in about 10 seconds.
Wow. And so talk about how it works.
Yeah, so essentially you've got all these customers that are landing on your site, and since most of these brands have only pretty much mobile traffic, at least over 70% of all traffic is mobile, there's no real good way to really engage those customers, right? You've got the email pop-ups, you've got perhaps Facebook Messenger, maybe you've got like a live chat, but none of those are really conducive to mobile. Everyone is on text message. So what we do is we collect numbers for people to get to opt in and to get texted later. And then when that message sends out, it doesn't look like what you might be used to when it comes to text message marketing, which is just like a bunch of ugly text. Maybe it's coming from a short number. This comes from a long code. It comes from a human at the brand, and it might say something like, hey, I'm Sarah from Lumi. I saw that you were looking at one of our nice light up cases. Would you like me to help find it in the right size for your phone, or want me to see if I can get you a good deal today? When the customer responds, our platform actually automatically engages them in a real-time conversation. And we do that by using humans that we actually employ.
There's an actual gerbil running on the wheel behind actually messaging people.
But then about 30% of all of our volume is NLP AI. And what we do is our main goal is to make sure that the customer on the other end always feels like they're talking to a human.
So walk me through a client story, even from how they even enter their number into wherever they're going to enter into.
Yep. So an end customer that's shopping on a website like Lumi.com, for example. So Lumi sells these light up cases that make it so that when you take a selfie, you've got like studio quality lighting like this.
That's cool.
And the customer, maybe they've bought a case before, but they've got a new phone and they're looking to upgrade their phone. And they get on the website and they're like trying to find the right size phone, but they're not sure if it's like the iPhone XR or XS, and they can't really figure it out. So they get distracted, especially because they're on their phone, and maybe they get like a text message or an Instagram update, and they leave. Well, if they've left their information in and they've opted in to receive text messages, maybe 30 minutes later or so, they'll get a nice, short, sweet message that comes from Maria at Lumi and says, hey, I saw you were looking at our cases. Can I help you find something? That's one use case. Another use case might be that they just signed up for updates and they're interested in when Lumi comes out with the latest version of a case, in which case once a week or once every month or so, they'll get a nice message with perhaps a GIF in it that's also still coming from a human that says, here's our latest, let me know if you have any questions.
What are some best practices for having someone enter in? Is there a pop-up? Is there something on the site for them to enter in their phone number?
These days, with the majority of folks coming to a website on mobile, having a pop-up opt-in where you can put your phone number in with just a couple taps is really, really important, because people aren't using email anymore. Live chat doesn't really make sense on mobile. So number one thing is some sort of pop-up opt-in that is collecting numbers. And then what you do with it on the back end is really where we come in, and making sure that experience is a personal one is really the drum that we like to beat.
Yeah. What's best practice to get someone to actually put their email or their phone number in there?
Giving a discount works the same way that you may have seen 10% off if you sign up for our email list. Works the same way with text messaging. Adding a little bit about what sort of experience you might get when you get texted is important too. And that's really where I think we shine, is making sure that it's going to be more of a friend relationship as opposed to a marketing relationship.
So talk about a customer story on, some of the results that you've seen.
Yep. So in general, we have about a 42% reply rate to all of our messages. We have a 24% conversion rate on our messages.
That's amazing.
Yep.
What's email, like 1%? I don't even know.
So email is in the fractions of percent on average when you're blasting to hundreds of thousands of customers.
24%, it's amazing.
Yep.
I don't know if you can talk about what a client offered or the results they got from after using it.
So in general, our brands, our best brands tend to see anywhere from 15 to 20% annual revenue lift off of using us. And it's, I think, the highest converting channel of anything that folks are doing. Yeah. Certainly better than email, certainly better than live chat or Facebook.
Yeah, we were joking around last night. I was thinking anyone who doesn't use text messages, I use some choice words, but needs to rethink that. I'll say it more politically correct, because the open rate is huge, right, compared to anything else. But I was also talking to someone who uses you, and you have a really interesting value proposition for people to use you on the pricing model.
Right. So we have a couple different pricing models. One of them is a commission-based pricing model where, especially for an abandoned order system, you don't pay anything for the messages, you only pay if we're able to convert sales for you.
So why would someone not do that? Do you get objections to that? I mean, it's a no-brainer. It seems like a no-brainer.
It's interesting.
You don't pay anything, but you only, make money when you make sales.
It depends on what you're selling. So in certain scenarios, commission makes more sense than other scenarios. There are some merchants that we may sell really, really big items for, and we're not going to,
like a car. You're like, awesome, we'll get you.
Order, right? But we also have volume pricing. There are brands that message hundreds of thousands of customers for us or with us every month, and we're not necessarily taking commission on that. It's more of how many messages are you sending, how many good engagements are you having.
Yeah. And you integrate.
We integrate with Shopify. And basically any headless e-commerce stack.
Yeah. So, what are some of the mistakes? You work with a lot of different e-commerce brands. What are some of the mistakes you see people making out there?
The biggest mistake,
besides not using text messaging,
biggest mistake overall, I think in general, is treating customers like data points and just assuming that one size fits all. Even when we talk about segmentation and smart segmentation, there are a lot of opportunities when it comes to answering frequent questions that customers have. People don't buy because they don't have the answers they're looking for. It's not because they forgot, right? So treating everyone like eventually they're going to remember to buy is, I think, the biggest mistake. Figuring out what are the big barriers to purchase that people are encountering. How do I remove those barriers by answering the questions that they had?
What's interesting to me is why you decided to put actual humans in place, as opposed to, I would think most companies either just, will install an autoresponder message or a chat bot or something.
Are you leading the witness right now? Do you know the answer to this?
No.
Okay. So I think most AI companies or chatbot companies like to think of the world sort of from a top-down model. Like, we're going to build this bot and we're going to try and train it to have answers to all of the questions that we can think of. But in reality, that's not how it works, right? You're a customer, you've got a really, really specific need in a certain moment, and every customer is different. So what we thought is, if we want to create the best experience possible, we're going to start bottom up. We're just going to start answering questions right away. Only thing that can do that in the world is a human.
Right.
And once we see the trends, we'll actually start automating. But from a consumer perspective, I want to be talking to a human at all times. No one presses 2 for bot, right? Everyone wants to press 0 for the operator.
Exactly. I just can't hit 0, 0 as many times until I get a human on the phone.
Yeah. So I think if we think about what the world looks like in 5 years, when practically every e-commerce brand is doing SMS marketing because they've figured it out, the consumer wants to be talking to a human. They're not going to be wanting to talk to a bot. So how do we build for that future where if I have 5 brands that I'm really close to and I really care about, I have 5 people at those brands that I talk to, and who cares what the technology is that's running in the background, as long as it is an empathetic personal experience. That's really, I think, the future that we want to build.
Yeah, so how do you think that will change your company? You think you'll be like, I could see you, you're technology, but you could be, there's call centers. I don't know if I've ever heard of text message centers, right? How do you think the future of mobile will affect you?
Can you be more specific?
Yeah, you'll be having a lot of humans and you'll be helping a lot of brands. That's right. You're going to almost have this human-powered element, not just the technology.
That's right. Certainly the automations that we've built allow us to scale limitlessly, and making sure that we always have the right ratio of humans to bots is basically at the core of our business. But I don't see a future where we're all just talking to bots anytime soon.
Right.
I think that's pretty clear. So we believe we've seen sort of the writing on the wall for the chatbot craze of 2016, and we think that there's like a nice sort of hybrid approach that actually solves every single problem in the ecosystem.
Who's a perfect client to be using your platform?
Any brand that sells a product with an average order value above $100 tends to be really, really profitable on this type of thing, because the higher the average order value, the more questions that a customer is going to have.
Right.
And of course,
they're not like, I want a pack of gum. They don't have many questions. It's
right.
Yeah.
And of course, the more valuable it is to maybe throw a couple humans in the mix to answer questions before that purchase. And once you buy a $500 jacket from a person who you've saved in your phone as John at Jackets R Us, then what's the likelihood that you're going to go anywhere else?
Yeah. Where can people find you online?
So you can find us in the Shopify App Store is the easiest place. We're SaveMySales, all one word, in the Shopify App Store, or SaveMySales.co.
Awesome. Jeremy Weiss, live from RetailX.